Um, I hope it's okay with you that I'm moving fairly quickly because this allows us to get to a wide variety of questions. I guess
Jackie Wu couldn't make it to the hangout because of connectivity issues, but here's her general question.
Okay, Jackie Wu's question is, I'd like to do a Google Hangout with Paul Polak. I'm a recent college grad thinking about quitting my job to travel for a few months, get on the ground, and talk to rural poor so I can start a social enterprise. After reading the book, I think it would be valuable talking to him and asking questions. Thanks for your help. Would any of you in the audience like to start responding to that question? I'd be glad to if you don't have some thoughts about it.
Should I go ahead, Paul? I mean, like,
Sure, Monce, go ahead.
Hello. Okay. So this is a general advice. I mean, like, which I share with a lot of my friends whom I do end up working with. How I did it was, I started consulting practice, 3 years back, and the way I did it was, I mean, like, I held on to a day job. I used to take a break in the evenings, and then I used to work from evening 7 to morning 2. So I moonlighted for 2 years. Currently, I'm also working on a book, so I was researching the book on the weekends. So it's much more easier because, when you start out on anything, it's not going to be a cakewalk, and we always have this thing about success stories, right? So there are no overnight success stories. There's a lot of struggle involved. I would always say keep trying things by the side while you can, and when you see traction happening and when you see the right kind of response coming from the market, and your gut tells you to, take the leap, just take the leap. So that's just putting it in 2 minutes. Thank you.
Anybody else have something to add to that? And I could wrap it up.
I completely, it'll take longer than you think. I'm with you on that one. I actually have a manual snow removal business that immigration story came into how I made the jump away from what I used to do. But yeah.
Let me add something, and then let's go on to the next question. I guess whatever you do, to me, the most important thing for your learning is to talk to poor people, if poor people is your focus of interest. And I'd like to just say a little bit about how I have gone about this over the last 30 years. I usually, if I'm working in, let's say, Kenya or in India, on a specific problem, let's say it's villages that lack access to electricity. I'll go to a village. I always find somebody who is a respected person in the village to act as my introducer and somebody who translates if translation is needed. And I'll go through a process of picking a typical family in that village, and I will spend 7 hours with that family, 6 to 7 hours. And it's just a long conversation in which we get to know each other, become friends, and trust each other, and ask each other all kinds of questions. And during that time, I learn everything I can about that family. I learn what they had for breakfast that morning, what they feed their dog. I'll ask them how many children they have, how far they go in school, and if they left school, why they left school. And as we get to know each other better, I'm very curious about their income and every source of income. If they're small farmers, many of them are, I walk with them through their fields. I share a cup of tea. At the end of the day, I know a lot about that family in some depth, about what their challenges are and what their dreams are for the future, and they're free to ask me similar questions. But in order to get good information, you have to be a good person to talk to, somebody who's interested in the people you're talking to, and you have to foster an open atmosphere. I then talked to 6 or 7 other people in the village for 1 or 2 hours each, that is families. At the end of that period, I've never done that process without coming up with a transformational idea or project that would help the people in that village, and usually it's 3 or 4. If you, whatever you do, in whatever way you do it, if you put a major focus on learning from poor people themselves, it will be tremendously valuable to your future work and your learning. Everything that I've done has come from what I've learned from the more than 3,000 families I've had long conversations with in this way, and they've become my friends and my teachers. So that's the part that I would emphasize.